Did my messages go on? Hi, welcome to my live. I may have to turn that down a little bit. I don't know if it's too loud. Thank y'all for joining. Thank you for joining. Waiting on a few more people to come in. Okay, today I'm still reading this book called The 7 Living Habits by Stephen Covey. This is the book I'm still reading. So I'm going to go over some stories today. Stories of courage and inspiration. A book about that. So that's what I'm doing today. So the last time I was here on my live, I went over the contents. The contents is courage to change, seeking balance, raising your children, raising teens, marriage, and valuing the differences, building a community, back to school, increasing your influence, managing your think, win-win, and leading organizations. So I read about how could I waste my life moving out the country, and it's never too late to change, and you're successful, but are you happy? So those are the 4 stories I read out of the Courage to Change chapter. So today I'm going to read Seeking Life Balance, and it says Wednesday evening, my time with my mom. So that's what story I'm going to get ready to read. Okay. Wednesday evening, my time with my mom. Our study showed that most people acknowledge that their lives are really out of balance. People tend to focus so much on work and other processing activities that the relationships and activities they really treasure the most end up getting squeezed and pushed aside. This is a beautiful story of an individual who got caught up in the whirlpool of urgency, and by taking the time to think about rules and goals. Habit 1, be proactive. And habit 2, begin with the end of mind. And synergizing with his wife. Habit 6, synergize. He came up with a marvelous solution. I have always had a special friendship with my mother. Together we endured a series of life events that has created a wonderful relationship. As one time in my life, even though I love my mother and really enjoy spending time with her, I got caught up in my commitments to work and community and my own family. My life got so busy, weeks would go by before I would make even a quick phone call just to check in. And when I did manage to squeeze in a visit, we would have just sat down to talk. And it would be time for me to leave. Another meeting to go to, another deadline to meet. My contact with this wonderful woman became mostly hit and miss. My mother never put any pressure on me to visit more often, but I wasn't happy with the situation. I knew my life was out of control if I couldn't constantly spend time with my mother. So pulling on the first things first perspective, my wife and I brainstormed for a solution. She suggested scheduling time each week or so that I would work for both our family and my mother. When she looked at the calendar, we saw my wife has chore practice every Wednesday evening. The night became my night to spend with my mom. Now my mom knows that every week or two I will be coming on a night at a time. I won't be running off within the first 10 minutes, and there are a few interruptions. If she wants to get more exercise, we go for a walk together, and other times she'll cook a meal for me. Sometimes I take her shopping at the mall, which is further away from where she feels comfortable driving to. No matter what we do, we are always talk. Our families about current events and about our memories. Every evening I spend with my mother is a peaceful oasis in my busy life. I tell my wife it's one of the best suggestions she ever given me. So basically that story is about him spending time with his mother. He's been so busy with his family that he didn't really get to visit his mother as often. So him and his wife came up with a solution so him and his mother can get to meet up and see each other more often. When my father died, I decided I was going to maintain and even increase my very special relationship with my mother because of the new void in my life. I resolved that no matter where I was, I would phone her every day for the rest of her life. Though we live 50 miles apart, I will also make special efforts to visit her at least every 2 weeks. She lived for another 10 years, and I cannot begin to express the depths of gratitude for her life and for the preciousness of our time together. I learned that when you regularly communicate with another person, you reach a new level of understanding that almost runs by nuisance. I found that the daily phone call was not too unlike or semi-weekly visits We felt as close to each other and as often and empathetic with each other as we did when we were together. It was like a continuous conversation. It really didn't make difference whether it was the phone or face to face, which surprised me because I always thought nothing could replace face to face contact. I am sure in another sense that is correct because the conversation contains the cumulative effect of previous conversation. There is hardly anything to catch up on. Instead, you can share deep insights and feelings rather than experiences. And initiate communicate. Initiate communication means to me to see. Just like the gentleman in the story, I too have had the tremendous benefits of having a very supportive and understanding wife who has abundance mentality. My wife Sandra doesn't see life as a fixed piece of pie where there's only so much time. Where time with my mother would mean time away from her. She saw that time with my mother would actually increase the depth of our own relationship. So that was a great little story about him trying to spend more time with his mother. So the next one I'm going to read. I can choose my life. Okay, the following story is about a power of deeply affirming another person's worth and potential. Because positive scripting occurred early in this boy's life, and because it was so consistent and sincere, it soaked into the soul and it became like a fish water spring in his life. Circumstances on the surface that might otherwise have been polluting had no lasting impacts. I was raised in a wonderful family. Never demeaned, abused, or torn down. I was taught that I was capable, special, designed for great things. I thought those daily affirmations really helped shape me. Because given what happened when I was 9, I could have gone seriously wrong. I was the youngest of 5 children when we learned my mother was suffering with the bleeding abdominal ulcer. Suddenly early one morning, she had a heart attack. I remember it was 6 in the morning when she died. It was completely unexpected. Suddenly our house was filled with screams of utter despair. My family, especially my father, went into shock. But somehow I got sent to school that day. My mother had just died. My father and my sister was devastated, and I got sent to school. I remember one kid yelling out from across the playground as I walked in from recess. "Hey, Hollabrook, I heard your mom died." I've never forgot the yell across the playground. Hundreds of kids heard that I said, "Yes, she did." I never forgot the reply because it taught me to recognize what had happened, to accept it, and to move on. Now that approach probably wouldn't work for everybody, but it worked for me. I learned I could accept and endure and move on through the hard times. Things actually got worse. My dad was an old-time physician, set bones, delivered babies, and cut, and out on call all night, every night. And he had these 5 young kids with nobody to take care of them. She No, so he remarried very quickly. She brought with her 3 children, 2 of them close to her own age. So all of a sudden, the strange woman who really didn't care for me or my siblings was raising me. They divorced horribly after 6 years of marriage. Let's just say that from 10 to 7 years of age, I was raised with really interesting family dynamics. But those early years of security and positive reinforcement had a tremendous impact on me. I refused to let negative experience tear me down. Through that terrible second marriage, when I had no mother to love or raise me, I still believe with my heart that I was special and designed for greatness, for great things. After all, every night, my dad, until I left home, came into my room. When I was young, he tucked me into bed, and I got older, he would just come to check on me. Every single night, he said to me, son, remember, just between you and me and the gatepost, you are extremely gifted and special, young man. There are great things in store for you. At the time, I responded, oh yeah, okay, heard this one before. But those words sank into my bones and my soul. They became a part of me. I'm not really that talented. There are some things I would do well, but I'm not a genius or anything. However, I never doubted myself. I have never questioned whether I could accomplish anything, whether I was capable of anything. That is perhaps my father's greatest gift to me. He gave me a belief in myself that is unwavering, emotional bank account. He gave me a sense of worth and potential and independent of circumstances. No matter what happened to me, I could still choose my life. Habit 1, be proactive. I was similarly blessed to have parents who consistently affirmed their belief in me. I knew that they were confident that I would be right. I would do the right things, and I could make something of my life. 2 short experience of illustration. One of memory of being awakened from time to time in the middle of the night to find mother whispering to me quietly as I slept. It was as if she was trying to speak things to my subconsciousness mind, such as you will do excellently on your test tomorrow. You can do anything you make up in your mind to do. One night I remember waking up overhearing this talk, and it started Manners said, Mom, what are you doing? She tenderly replied, I'm just telling you how much I love you and that I believe in you, and left the room. Another experience involved some brothers in a college who used to do some drinking, but who were ashamed to admit it to his families. One time after the trip, they had a fifth of whiskey left over, and they gave it to me. I put it on top of my dresser where it remained for many months. Never did my parents mention it to me or ask me about it. They simply knew I wouldn't drink. I honestly believe that the most powerful, penetrating, transcendent form of love that a parent could give a child is consistent, repetitive affirmation of that child's essential worth, potential, even when their current behavior would initiate the opposite. Never give up. So that story was about a young boy. His mother passed away when he was around about 9. And his dad got remarried. He was raised by another mother, well, his stepmother, for a few years. But his father still believed in him. So it was a great little story. So those are two stories I went over. How I can choose my life. And the other one was Wednesday evening, my time with my mom. So I would like to thank y'all for coming to my live today. This book is Living the 7 Habits. They have stories of courage and inspiration by Stephen Covey. So check that out in my little shopping cart. Also check out my bracelets. It's down at the shopping cart too. And I'd like to thank each and every one of y'all for joining my live today. And check this book out. Thank you. Appreciate it.